I just got off of a pre-event call with an upcoming speech that I'm doing. The client, the key, kind of like the VIPs, the decision makers, the event planners, the folks running the event that I'm speaking at in a couple of weeks. And I thought that this would be useful for you to immediately, I mean, I got off it minutes ago. I wanted to capture all of my thoughts quickly for you about how to run a pre-event call, what these calls are for, why they matter, how to run one, what you are supposed to get out of it. Because I think that there's a bunch of things going on here for speakers. And one is many speakers I talk to do not do pre-event calls, or it would never occur to them to do pre-event calls. And it's one of the most common things I hear from speakers who are struggling to increase their fees. When I meet someone who is stuck at the sub $5,000 mark, so they just can't seem to consistently get gigs, get speaking engagements that are over $5,000. Now they might be down at the $1,000 or $2,000 mark, or they're in that $3,000 to $4,000 range. Maybe that's all inclusive with travel, and so they're not making a ton, and they just can't figure out why nobody will go over $5,000, or they just can't get themselves there. A lot of times I ask them, well, talk to me about your pre-event call. What are you doing in the pre-event call? And they say, what do you mean the pre-event call? You mean like the discovery call, the sales call? I go, no. I mean the call that you do 3 to 6 weeks before the event, after they've booked you. So they've already booked you, and then 3 to 6 weeks out from the event, you want to do a call with any key stakeholders. So the event planner, maybe the executive, the executive assistant, the CMO, whoever it is, the president, the vice president, whoever is emotionally or financially invested in the success of this event should be on this call. So the first thing you need to know is you should be doing pre-event calls. Once the client books you, or even before they book you, you let them know, hey, 3 to 6 weeks out, 3 to 4 weeks out, you tell them roughly when, before the event, if we decide to work together, we're gonna do a call at that point to firm up the details, AV, logistics, things like that, and also to make sure that I'm able to tailor, personalize my presentation specifically for your group, and we're gonna do it pretty close to the event. So I always tell them, even though we're talking about an event that's 9 months away or 6 months away, we're gonna wait until 3 or 4 weeks out, 6 weeks at the most, from the event to have this call, because the world can change. That's what I always tell them. The world can change a lot. What's going on for your group, your organization can change a lot. And what you think is gonna be useful to them right now may change or be different, or you may want me to put more weight on one thing or another. Something may have happened pretty close to the event that's either good or bad. So we're gonna talk about it then, so that I can come in and make sure that I'm delivering a presentation that is absolutely perfect for the moment, not just your group generally, but for the moment that they're in. Okay, so this is the point of the pre-event call. Yes, you're going to deal with logistics, but it's much more important that you figure out what they want. What does success look like for this planner, for this event on that particular date? What does their audience need at this moment in time? You're doing this so that they feel confident that you're going to deliver, but you're also doing it so that you know precisely what you need to do to make them happy. You're basically going to run a call that goes, what does success look like to you? And then they tell you, and then you just go do it. And it's almost impossible not to be successful if you know exactly what they're looking for. So, all right, so I get on this call, I book it, I usually book it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes at most, right? So the major event where they're gonna put 8 people on this call, I might book a 30-minute call. If it's gonna be 1 or 2 key players, which is usually what these calls are, 20, 25 minutes is fine. We get on, hey, it's coming up soon. It's in 2 weeks, it's in 3 weeks, how you feeling? My first thing is, I'm excited, I'm enthusiastic, I give them a lot of energy right away. It's coming up soon, how are you feeling, right? And then I gauge their response. A lot of times you get a mixed response. You get people like, yeah, it is, it's coming up soon. Oh man, we got so many details. You get this like, I'm excited, but I'm still working out all these details, and one person dropped out or this thing changed. And so I gauge where they are right now. Where is their energy? How are they feeling? because I want to be able to, whatever they're feeling, if it's positive, I want to match it and double down on it. If it's slightly negative, if they're worried about things, I want to reassure them that's going to be awesome, right? Because if they're like, oh, there's so many different pieces and we're struggling with this and this one thing dropped out, and I'll go, totally, it's bananas how many different things have to happen for these events, but you know what? They always come together. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be celebrating and it'll all be over. And they're like, yeah, that's right. It always does come together. Just that, giving them the confidence in their own event makes you invaluable, even apart from the speech. So first thing is I meet them with energy, excitement, enthusiasm. I get a read on how they're feeling about the event. That all happens in the first 60 to 90 seconds. After that, I go to logistics. These are the easiest things to do, and so I deal with them first. So right away, I go, okay, let's talk real quick about let's just, chat about the AV and about the timing, and, let's just reconfirm all the details. So I just go, okay, so as a reminder, I need either a lav mic or a headset. I use my own laptop. Right? So whatever I've told them, I go over that. I bring my own laptop, but you need to have, do you have an HDMI cable and access from the front of the stage? You go, yep, we've got that all set. Or no, we forgot about that. What is it you need again? We just go over the details. Then I ask them, when are we doing sound check, load in, setup, sound check? And we'll talk about the logistics for that, lunch, breakfast, the night before, you're going to be, whatever it is. So we deal with all the logistics of that. That takes 2 or 3 minutes. And again, most of this, they know this already. It was in the sales call. It was in the contract. It was in the rider. But you're a few weeks out. Sometimes people change positions. They forget things. Just go over it again. Assume nobody remembers and that they lost all the paperwork. That's just like it, because it does. If you show up and they don't have what you need, it doesn't matter if you go, but it was in the contract, it was in the rider, but we talked about it. Just doesn't matter. If they don't have it when you show up, it's still on you to deliver, right? So go over it again in this call. Okay. Once I do that, the rest of the call is about who these people are, what they're dealing with, and what they're hoping to get out of this event, of your portion of this event. So then you go more into the open-ended. So you go, listen, talk to me. I know we talked a few months ago. We talked back in whenever. Talk to me about your team. So I know the folks are, and then just remind them what you know at a base level. They're these kind of people. I know you mentioned that the theme of the event is this, and that you want it to be X, Y, and Z. Is that still the case? Like, how are you feeling about it now that we're just a few weeks out? And then just go quiet, just shut up. And they will talk and talk and talk and talk, as if you haven't already had that conversation back at the sales call, because things have changed. And you're looking for, what's the theme of the event? Who exactly are the people in the seats? What have they been dealing with lately related to your topic? And you want to at least at one point ask a question. So, if we're celebrating, imagine that I've done the speech 3 weeks from now. I did the speech. The event's over. It was a phenomenal success beyond your wildest imagination. What did you see? What did you notice? What did you hear that told us it was a success? If we're popping champagne and celebrating, what did you see or notice or hear that told you it's time to pop the champagne? I always ask a version of the champagne question or the success question, and they will tell you exactly what they're hoping for. Some folks will say, I really just want to see people laughing and engaged and buzzing and having fun. Other folks will say, I want to hear people talking about, the stuff that, during the presentation, after, during the cocktail or that evening, or in the Slack channel on Monday morning. I'll know that it was a success because of the feedback forms. We'll just see the numbers on the feedback forms. Whatever it is that they're hoping for, they will tell you. Okay, once you know that, it's very useful. At some point in this call, you want to ask, are there any specific phrases, industry terms, insider terms that I should at least hit once, that I should know about? And they'll go, yeah. Okay, so our division is called this. This year, our word of the year was whatever. So if you mention anything like that, they'll really love it. Like anything like that, it takes you one word to throw into your speech, and everybody goes, oh, this was custom built for us. Even if the entire rest of the speech was completely stock, the keynote you always do, word for word. You throw in one word that they use this year, right? Like the event I'm doing, without giving anything away about this event, they're like, oh, if you can just say hello, hot couture, they're going to freak out. They're going to love it. I'm like, fine. It doesn't matter why. If I get up there, hello, hot couture, how are we doing? They're going to freak out because it's a phrase that they've been using as an insider phrase within their division this year, and they're going to laugh and love it. And I'll get a ton of, grace for doing that. And the event planners will love it and whatever, right? It's easy for me. Instead of saying, hey, folks, I'm going to say, hello, hot couture. Great. Easy to do. Everybody's happy. If that's what it takes to earn my keep, great. But if you don't do this call, you don't find out stuff like that, right? You don't find out how easy it is to crush it as a speaker because so few people do stuff like this. And notice, I'm not talking about customizing your presentation. There's some speakers that customize presentations. They build from the ground up. That's their thing. They market that. They go, yeah, I build a custom presentation. I do deep research. I learn all about your company, what you've been doing this year, and then they deliver. And I just go, why would you spend 50 hours of your life building a custom presentation to act as if you're part of this industry that everyone in the audience absolutely knows you are not a part of because you're coming in from the outside. You don't work there. At best, you're a really good, you fake it really well at best, right? At best, you don't say something stupid I don't know. So the point is this, you get a couple of these words or phrases or key lines, you toss them in there and you just do the rest of your speech the way you normally do. It feels custom, even though it's not. So the last question I always ask, and you must ask this question. Actually, there's two. One of them is logistical. One of them is philosophical. I ask people, if you had to tell me a percentage split between content and entertainment, or you could say content and inspiration if you're not like an entertainer, right? You basically going, and I go, in other words, for me, content is like the stuff about human connection and the practical takeaways and the things that they can do, right? And then the entertainment for me is like the magic and the stories and the interaction. What would you say that your audience at this event needs? Is this 70-30? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Is it 80-20? Like, what's the percentage split? You have no idea what people will say to this. I have asked this question hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times in my career. I can never guess. No matter what I think, I'm always wrong, which is why I ask. And in some cases, people will say, oh, actually, like 80-20, like 80% content, 20% entertainment for us. Like, this is a really like a working group that wants to get a lot of value. Great. Other times, they'll go 50-50. Like, we really want these folks to have, to really have fun. Like, we care that they get some useful stuff, but we want to have fun. And other times, they'll go 70-30. Like, if you can do 70% entertainment, like make it really, really fun and exciting and inspirational for people, so they just walk out just like on a high, just toss the message in there and that'll be great. You have to ask if you want to build your presentation properly. So that's one question. And the last question that you must ask this is, reconfirm the timing. How long do I have on stage? They'll tell you 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. And then you say, what's the buffer? Do you need me off exactly at that moment? Or is there a buffer? And they might say, well, if you're off, 2 minutes late, that's fine. They might say, no, there's plenty of buffer. If it goes an extra 5 minutes or even 10 minutes, like if that makes sense to you for our group, just do whatever makes sense. Other times they will go, no, you must be off by this time. And if they're really hard on the time, I ask a follow-up question, and this question matters a lot. The follow-up question is, okay, you want me off at 5:30? And they say, yes. I go, now, just in case, if my presentation starts late because the conference is running late, if things are running late, and I get on 10 minutes later than you originally expected, do you want me to fill the entire 45 minutes you asked for, or do you still want me off at 5:30, even though that means I'm only going to be on stage for 35 minutes? Do you want me to fill my time, or do you want me off at 5:30 come hell or high water? And again, you have no idea what people will say. Sometimes they're like, no, 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 do your whole time, even if we get you on late. That's on us. And other times they'll go, no matter what time you walk on stage, you must be off at 5:30 because we have a bus coming to take them to the after party or whatever. That is a question you must ask. You can give a killer speech, but run them over by 5 minutes and screw up their schedule, and they will hate you for it, even if you got a standing ovation, even if people loved it and rated you 100% on the feedback forums. They will hate you for it if you do that to them. Okay? So those are things that you should be doing in the pre-event call. That's why you should have one. And those are some things you should be doing. Hit me up in the comments or chat on this replay should you have any questions about that. And I will see you on February 5th, Thursday, February 5th, for our first guest lecture of the year, Andrew Tarvin. He is a legend, renowned humorist. He's going to teach us how to add humor into our speeches. His TEDx talk has 15 million views. 15 million views on adding humor in the workplace. He's going to teach us how to add humor to any speech on any topic. It's amazing. Please RSVP for that in the meetings, the events section of the community, of the hub, the SpeakerPath Hub. I got to get used to saying of this SpeakerPath Hub. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you on the SpeakerPath.